Hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to use the ride theme from Shopify. I'm getting requests for different people to show them how to use these different themes, and I haven't posted on this YouTube channel in a while, so I'm going to make life a little bit easier for you. So we're going to head over to the online store here. This is provided that you have a Shopify website going, and then we're going to go ahead and add the ride RIDE theme to Shopify. So we're going to head over to got popular themes. You got Rise, Horizon, Saver. These are the newer ones. So we're going to go ahead and visit the Shopify theme store. And you can click on free here. And you'll see Dawn, Horizon, Rise, Refresh, Sense, Saver, Craft, Trade, Vessel, Tinker, Spotlight. So some of them come off of Shopify after a while when they get low ratings. It's kind of got a low rating at 28%, so we don't know how long it's going to stay on there. There's so few free themes on Shopify, and they always do like the basics, right? So that's why they try to get you to purchase a theme or have somebody come in there and code it for you. Most of the time, people will install this Dawn theme and then try to manipulate it to make it do what they want it to do. There aren't a lot of these themes that have animations or any kind of cool stuff. So if you're looking for all the bells and whistles, you either have to get an app or you got to pay for a nicer theme. So we're going to go ahead and go down and click on Ride here. And if you look at Ride, you can look at the demo where you click on Try Theme down here on the right-hand side. So I'm going to go and click on Try Theme. It's going to take it into my store. And if this was an active store, it's going to put it in there as a secondary theme. So right now, my live store is the one at the top, and then it's adding Ride as another theme here. So what I'll usually do, and you can always download Ride again if you need to, because it is a free theme, but it's nice to keep a duplicate inside of your own store of what you have, of the version that you have, because they may upgrade it. So what I'll usually do is just click here and then go to duplicate. So click the three dots, duplicate, and now you'll have a original version here, and then you'll have the copy, and then work on the copy. And if you ever need to go back and mess around with the original one, you can go there. But if you download the latest Ride version, it may be 16 or 17 or 18. So whatever code that you apply to your version that you're working on, say you add some apps and you add some other stuff, it's not going to apply to any other themes until you actually add those manually to that theme. So let's get into it right now. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to click publish. If I click publish, it's going to make it my live theme. So I'm going to go ahead and customize this. Now, if I look at this, it's this dark theme with this cool, background and everything. I do have some products in here from another video that we did. Now, this dark version's okay, but I want to control the colors that are on here. And then you can always go over to theme settings here. And then if you look at this, you have colors right here. And so here's the first scheme, right? And I can go and do the second one here. Let's see what happens. Nothing, right? So nothing happens when I select these because I'm actually editing the actual theme itself, the colors. So I can create my own theme colors. So say, for instance, I wanted to add a scheme, right? So I can click here, and then I can make my own scheme. So I'm going to go ahead and basically it's a template, right? When they say scheme or schema, whatever. So background gradient, I'm just going to make the background white. I'm going to make text. I want that to be black. I'm going to make this really simple, okay? Solid button background, we'll make it black. And then outline button, we'll make that whatever color that is right there. And then shadow, we'll go with a light, here, I'll just grab that like that. All right, so this is version 6, right? This theme. So let me hide my pretty face over here. Now, I like the way that looks. I'm going to go ahead and select save up here on the top right-hand side, just so it saves changes that I've done. Now, if I go back, you're going to see my number 6 here now. So I've got my black and white version. Let's see what number 3 is. Number 3 is pretty much what I just did as well. But let's just use number 6 as our example. So if you look at these, this website is broken up into sections, right? Top section, and a section means this whole thing here, right? So this section right here is the banner section, right? This whole section. Then I've got another section here called feature collection. When you roll over it, you got these little tabs that pop up, will tell you what it is. So if I click on this, I'm going to be on the home page up here, right? So now I clicked on feature collection, and look what happened is I selected feature collection over here. So now I have the ability. Now your computer screen may not be as wide as mine. So if it's, like this, it'll probably put everything on the left-hand side. You see how I moved everything over there? Or if you're working on a laptop, it may put everything over on the left-hand side. So if that is the case, and I'll do it again, just so you can see it. So this is the case, right? So now I'm on featured, and where'd all my stuff go? So now I have to hit this back right here, this arrow that takes me back to my sections, right? So that I can start working on these again. So I want to add another section here. So I'll go ahead and click on, and what I want to do is I'll click on add section. Now we add something cool like a collections list or some text. I'll add some text just to make it easier. So now it's going to pop in this text here, right? So if you look at this again, it took me right onto this rich text. So now I could be editing this actual text if I wanted to. Talk about your brand, and I could click there and change that. I can click on the button and change that and make that with a link and everything. And then once I'm done with all that, I always want to hit save. And then what I'll do is I'll go here and go to the back, and I'll be back on my home page. So for instructional purposes only, I'm going to use the wider screen version just because I have all kinds of stuff on my screen and it's overpowering, and I have 100 windows open, as you can see at the top, okay, all my tabs. So back to the scheme number 6. So you notice I created that color scheme of number 6. So what I want to do is I want to use that scheme throughout my store now. So if I click up here, and that's going to give me the promotion in the announcement bar, it says welcome to your store over here on the right-hand side, right? You could change this to whatever you want. That's pretty useless. You always want to welcome to our store. Nobody cares. You want to use like free shipping over $100, right? So use it for something that's a good message, not like hello or whatever. It's really a waste of space if you put that up there. Welcome to our store. Who cares, right? So put, free shipping or offer a discount or do something, right? Next thing I'm gonna do is I'll click on the actual announcement bar itself. Now, if you look at the announcement bar, when I clicked on that over here on the right-hand side, and again, if this screen were collapsed down, now I've got it on my left, right? So if I'm on a laptop, it'll probably look like that. So I'm gonna go back. So now over here, if you look at this, it says auto rotate announcements, which is pretty cool. So I only have one announcement. If I wanted to have multiple announcements here, say I wanted to have another announcement, I just move my mouse so that it centers on this line right below the actual announcement section till I see this little pop-up, and then I'll click on that. And now I can say my next one, welcome to our store. There you go, if you really wanted people to say that. Now, if I go back to the announcement bar and I go back over here for rotate, what's going to happen is it's going to rotate this message through every 5 seconds. So, and I could change that to what that, see how it changes, free shipping over 100. So that's pretty cool. You can leave that. Now this color, again, I wanted to have my own schema. So I'm going to use my scheme with 6. So notice now it's a background white, and I've got black text. So now again, I want the next section down here, which is the navigation or the header. If you click on that, I clicked on it, and now it has logo position, middle left. I could always change that to middle center, and then it's going to change the layout. And I could change it to top left, and it'll change the layout. You notice it's changing the layout over here. And then I can go to top center, which will put me in the center and center everything, but then it puts your search bar over here and this stuff over here. It's kind of all over the place, right? So I'm going to go back to middle left, which I like. So that's fine, living La Bisla Loca. And then we're going to go to select, let's see here, mobile logo. You've got main menu, so that's where you select your menu. And then again, here you got color scheme. So I've got color scheme 1. So let me go down to 6 and see what happens. So now it changes to black and white, okay? And then menu color scheme. So if I leave this where it is, watch, I'll hit save, and then I'm gonna preview this. So if I click on this, see how it's black? So if I change this to my color scheme, and I'll save it, and now I click here, it's gonna do the black white. See that? Pretty cool. All right. So you got some other stuff here you can mess around with, sizing and stuff like that. Menu type drop down. You could do a mega menu and then hit save. And the reason it does save periodically, but I just do it just as a habit because sometimes you mess up the. So look what the mega menu did. The mega menu made it so that the menu goes all the way across. So if I had a bunch of things under gadgets, I'll have multiple columns here. So the same thing with about. right? So if I had a bunch of stuff on here, again, it'll be column, 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 all the way across. So mega menus are pretty cool for that. If you don't have a lot of drop downs, it's always best to just change this to a drop down. Now, if you change this to drawer, it's going to make it like a little mobile menu over here, and people won't be able to see it on your desktop. If you are going to do it this way, then I recommend moving the logo to the center so they will look over there. So for instance, I would change this to middle center, and then notice how you got the logo here, whatever your logo may be. So they're going to look for the menu then they'll look for it, you see? Otherwise, if it's slammed over there, it's be kind of hard to see. People are used to seeing that on mobile, but they're not used to seeing it on desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a drop-down menu again. I'm going to change my guy back to middle left, and now we're back where we started. I'm going to hit save. So what about the rest of the website? So now I'll come down here and I'm going to go ahead and click on this next section, which is image with text. Okay, there's no banner. I probably want to have something cool like cycling through. I do like having banners and stuff on the homepage. So I may do like add section and then maybe have a slideshow. Some people like to put slideshows there. If that's the case and you have a slideshow, it's a little show up at the bottom, and then now it's down here. So what you want to do is take these little dots right here. You roll your mouse over it so it's pointing on them. You left click and hold your mouse down, and then you just drag it right above to, you see where that blue line that shows a blue line? I just let it go, and now it moves the banner all the way to the top. Okay, so now I've got this, but you know what? I want to just have a nice image back here, and I want to have all this ugly text and everything on top of it. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and click on the actual slide. I'm going to go over here where the text is on the right? And again, if I collapse this down, all this stuff's going to be on the left-hand side. So I'll go ahead and select the text, and I'm going to delete it. And then I'm going to delete this text too. I can go through and delete that, or I can just turn off the container. Now watch, I'll turn it off, and then it's going to leave the text there. So I do need to get rid of the text that is within all of these inputs here in order for that stuff to disappear. So now I can put a nice image there instead and not have to worry about whatever my image is going to be. So let's pick a banner of this guy right here. How's that? It's dude holding his tie clip. Okay. So now I have this image and I have no other text on top of it. Completely happy with that. So the next slide, again, you want to hit save just to be on the safe side. And then go to your next slide over here on the left-hand side. So it's the same thing. You want to have another image, but you don't want to show any text. Or you can actually populate the text here if you want to. So remember, you've got that color scheme, which is the black and the yellow from the original theme template. And you want your color scheme to be changed to that black and white that you made. So now you'll select schema 6, and now I'll have my black and white. So if I wanted to say Joe's Coats, whatever, or Shop Coats, or whatever, I don't know. And then you come down here and say, buy our coats, whatever. Okay, and then button label, shop now, shop now. And then here for the link, you're going to want to link this to the coats, right? I don't have coats in here. Let's just go to gadgets. We'll link it to gadgets. So now if you look at this, it's going to be linked to gadgets. But look, that's kind of funny looking, right? So it's got these weird colors on here. So I'd probably mess around with this a little bit and try to test out some other schema. There you go. There's a better one. So schema 3 actually has it with the white text for the button on there. So I'd probably go in that direction if you are going to keep text on top of the buttons like that. And then again, we need an image to throw on there. So we're going to go ahead and grab, let's just grab, how about stacked bracelets? We'll grab that. Okay, so now I've got bracelets, whatever. And then this looks really bad now. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Again, I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to get rid of this, and then I don't have to worry about that. I'll just turn off the container, and now it's just images. Okay, again, hit save. Then I'll come down, and I actually like the black down here. I'll just leave it there because it's looking great or whatever. This is the actual image with text. You can click on the image, and you can come over here and select the image you want to use. So you want to put that in there. Browse early, and you can mess around with it that way. So next one down here, if you look at this, it says feature collection. Well, I don't want the feature collection there. It looks kind of weird. So I'm going to move it up above the image, right? So I'll select this and then move it up. And now I've got the featured collection right below the banner, and I could change that. Now, if you notice on this feature collection, it is using the schema of the one right here, feature collection over here on the right-hand side. Now I'll scroll down. And then I'm going to go ahead and select schema 6, and let's see what it does. So now it changes it to still black on the actual cards themselves, but now I've got a background that's white. So I could probably try to use the other schema, which is 3. So let's see what that one does. It does the same thing. So you can fool around with these and see which one is best for you. There's 2. Let's try 4. 4s. And we'll just go back to 6. So if you look at these now, you've got the cards. Oops, let me go back. Notice I clicked on a product image accidentally, and I need to go back to the home page. So let's go back to the home page, and let's see if it saved any of my. See, it didn't save anything. Oh, it did save it. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so now I have featured collection, and then over here I've got control of stuff. So I can say, cool collection, right, is my header. And then I can go down. I could say the product count is 8. I only got 4 there, so let me just go back to 4. And then heading size, I want it big. Make it be even bigger. Extra large. There you go. And then you can put some text in here, right? So this is my cool collection, blah, 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 blah. And I recommend doing that if you are going to put some information on the front of your website there just to help with your search engine optimization. So explain what your collection is. So if this collection is fitness equipment, you can use ChatGPT to generate a description. You can go over to ChatGPT and create, give me a 1-paragraph description about fitness equipment, and then it'll type it up for you and you can paste it in here. Layout for the collections. So I can do 4 columns. I can do 2 columns. See how it did that? So it's kind of cool. So I put it in 2 columns, and then I can go to 5 columns, but I want to stick to 4, and I got 4 products, right? So it looks nice that way. Carousel, again, so if you had more products, right? Let's see, full width. Let's see what it does. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Full width, I like that, goes across. But then carousel, so if I showed more product count, like say I showed 15, it's going to give me a carousel now here. But see, it went to the 5, but let's go a little, let's take a look at how this looks on mobile. Up here on the top right-hand side, you've got these little icons here. Now I can see how it's going to look on mobile. Full screen, desktop. So I'll just go back to desktop. So if you notice, it has little arrows now, but there aren't that many products. So if there were like 10 products, it would cycle through the next 5. So I don't have that many on here. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to turn off the carousel. I like the full width product thing. It expands the page, looks nicer. Image ratio portrait. So you can do square. It's going to cut off your images. You can also do adapt to image, which is going to make it flunky. It'll be the height of the actual images themselves. So I'm going to go back to portrait. Image shape default. So you can do arch. You can play around with the colors if you want. So I'll just go back to default. I'm not going to make it all goofy. Let's see. Quick add. You can do standard. Let's see what it does. There we go. So it adds some buttons bulk. And I'll say no. That's just a button so that you can click on it and actually add it to your cart right away from the home page. A mobile layout, you can control that. Carousel again, top, bottom. So there really aren't a lot of settings for this. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. Next thing I'll do, let me add another section. Let's see what else we got in here. Collection list. So say you had multiple categories and stuff that you want to put on the website. So you can have, the first collection, second, third. Say you had 6, collections on here. I'll go ahead and click on collections. So now I'm over here, and you want to change it from the word collections. You want it to be something else, right? So for instance, if this was going to be, James's art. So James's, art collection, or whatever, collections, art collections. Why don't we do this? Yeah, it's fine. So we'll leave it that way, square. Again, schema, I want to change that to my black and white. And then I'm going to go ahead and go to, let's see, or if I go to 3, let's see what that does. 3 is the same. 1, 5. Yeah, we'll go to 6. All right, so we'll leave that. And then we'll hit save. And now I want to populate these, though. So I want to say, hey, I click on this first one here, and it's going to be over here on the left-hand side. So it's going to do collection. Then over here on the right-hand side, again, if they had the laptop, it's going to squish all the way down. It'll just go to this page like this. Okay. So I'm going to click on select and I'm going to find a collection. I want to put gadgets manual. So what it's going to do is it's going to grab, if there's a product in there, it'll show the first product. Otherwise, it'll show the image that's on that collection. So on each of your collections, you actually have an area where you can add a featured image. So I like that one. I'm going to hit save. Then I'll do my next collection over here on the left-hand side. And then I'm going to call that one, let's see, let's just do Gadget Smart. And then it's pulling the product actually from in there. So that's that one. So let me click on the next collection down. And then I'm going to go over here and select the next one, Kitchen Smart. So Kitchen Smart. Now I want to add actually some more, right? So I'll go back to collections list over here on the left-hand side, okay? And then if you look over here on the right-hand side, now you've got 3 columns. So I want to do 4 columns and then maybe do, let's see. So I'll do 4 columns. Yeah, it doesn't let you do rows. So this one's pretty limited. It'll just let you do, I think up to six collections. So let's just say I am doing 6. So now I've got 6 here. I'll hit save. Now what I'm going to do is I'll go over to collections list, and then I need to add 3 more of these. So I'll go ahead and roll my mouse here. It's kind of weird. Got to get it so where it actually shows this little button. So add collection, add collection, add collection. So now I added 3 more. And then I'll go ahead and select this one and then pull up kitchen and then select the next one and pull up men's suits and pull up the next one. And they're all like the same images because I just put the same products on them. Women's fashion, right? So technically, if these products were different under here, you see different images, okay? But if you click on any of these, it'll take you to that collection directly. And then you're going to hit save. So if I look at this, I'm like, you know what? That's 3, 6, that looks weird. I'm going to go back to, 4, 5, 4. There we go. So now we can make it do different levels by, let's see, we can do 3. So 3 and 3. There we go. 3 and 3. So now it's 2 rows. I hit save. Those are all my collections. So next thing I'm going to do, I'll go ahead and add another section. And let's take a look here. I can do a collage, multi-column. Multi-columns are good if you're going to put in there like shipping, fast shipping, customer service and things like that. Multi-row, so if you're trying to do a different layout where you can have an image on the left and information on the right, and then text on the left and information on the right. I recommend not putting too many things on your homepage, but put the most important stuff on your homepage that you want people to shop for. There's a difference between making it, there's a fine line between making it look good and also being functional. Sometimes you put so much stuff on the homepage that it's not going to load fast enough on mobile, and you're going to get binged on rankings because your website's slow. So try to keep it simple, silly, right? KISS philosophy. Keep it simple, silly. So now I can also go to multi-row, collapsible content. So if you do want to add some FAQs to the homepage, which I do recommend actually. So collapsible content's a good way to add some questions. So say you only had 1 or 2 products on here, you can actually add some FAQs on here. So obviously that's not going to be what I have, right? But what I would do for the questions though is I would actually go and search online and see if those questions are actually being asked. Then that way you're not just putting content on your website, you're putting content that people are already looking for. So I'll give you, for instance, let's call this fitness bands FAQs, right? And then I'll go over to Google here, our friend, and type in fitness bands. And then what I'll do is you have all this information, scroll down, go down the page, go down the page, go down the page, and you're going to find questions people also ask. So look at this. So do fitness resistance bands really work? So if I were to do this, I would click on this drop down. It says, yes, resistance bands do build muscle according to 2019. Don't copy their answer, right? So take this, you could even just take this question and answer, or even just take it over to ChatGPT. So for instance, I would take that description. So the first question is, do fitness resistance bands really work? So I'll go back over to my design here. I'll click on this first one and say, do fitness resistance bands really work, right? So it's okay to grab the question, but for the answer, we want to use our little friend over here, and we'll say, please rewrite this. Quick question, quotes around it. Resistance bands can help build muscle. In fact, let's see, more scientific, authoritative, casual, and say casual, and then just follow it through, but make sure it changes it. A resistance bands, yes, resistance do help build muscle and show dignity, effective strength. Want me to make it more influencer style? Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Resistance bands could build serious muscle, in fact, found. That's okay, right? So you want to get it to a point where you're answering the question a little bit better than the previous guy, right? Who's got the listing. So I'll say save, and then I'll do the same thing for the rest of the questions, right? So I'll go ahead and get the rest of them. What do resistance band colors mean? And then notice how when I click on a question, it gives me additional questions after that. So if this is a really popular question, I clicked on it, it's going to give me corresponding questions that are a part of that same question. And it's always good to follow it. It's good to put 3 or 4. 4 is a pretty good number. One to help with you the search engine optimization and to help you get into the AI searches, but also to help solve a quick problem to questions that people are asking, right? So do resistance bands get rid of belly fat? It says blah, 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 blah. So you can see what other people say. This is the one that got ranked. It's from 2024. And you'd highlight that, you'd rewrite it. You probably may add your own little twist to it as well. All right, so say we got all that done. Subscribe to our emails. So with Shopify, it's kind of weird. Their built-in the email system, all it does is it connects to the customer inside of your Shopify account, and it says that you're allowed to send them emails. It doesn't add them to an email list. It doesn't add them to MailChimp. It doesn't add them to anything else. So you're going to want to add an app or use an integration through MailChimp or Constant Contact or some other email service instead of using this subscribe to our emails. Klaviyo is an excellent system to use. I use it on a lot of websites. It has really cool stuff for people that's first-time visitors, welcome visitors. It also has a flow. So say, for instance, somebody goes to your website and you can follow up in a couple of days, send them another email and send them another email, and you automate the entire thing. Okay, next. Let's see here. Let's go over to add section. And what else we got? Custom liquid blog posts. So another thing I do recommend you do is add blog posts to your website. And it doesn't really matter how you get started, but just get started, right? So, but you want to make sure that you do this correctly. So again, we're going to call it blog posts, and whatever we're selling on here, we want to call it whatever that is. So I can say fitness, brand, fitness brand blog posts or whatever. I don't know. So then for each of the blogs themselves, I'll hit save. You have to go into Shopify. So I'm going to go ahead and go back up here on the top left-hand side. I'll hit exit, and then I'm going to go into content, and then you have blog posts here. And so if you noticed, I got a blog called news and one called how to blogs blog. And then so what I want to do is create a new post, and I'm going to add it into one of my blogs. So you can have multiple blogs and then different posts underneath each of those blogs. But I only recommend that you put one blog system on your front of your website. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on add blog post, and I'm going to call this best resistance bands for people over 50. Okay, and then you'll put some info in here, right? And then you're going to add an image. So I'll add an image. Then let me do this guy again. He seems to be our friend. And we'll hit done. And then before I post this, I'll select edit again. I'm going to edit the alt text. And I'm going to say best resistance bands for people over 50. Just do it again, reiterate it on the image. And this is actually for readers, for people that actually have screen readers or are blind. So you probably want to say image of a man using the best resistance bands, right? So you probably want to say it that way so that when they're going through your website and they hit on this image, they'll understand what it is. And the same thing with your blogs. So you're going to make your blogs. I'm not going to cover how you write your blogs by putting an H1 and an H2 tag and all that fun stuff. But I just wanted to show this to you. So right now it's hidden. So I'll make it visible now. And then also I want it to show up in one of these blogs. So I'm just going to say news. I'm going to leave it there. And then authors will just leave my own name. And then you can tag it, put it in fitness, products, and hit enter. And then put whatever tags you want in there. And then select save. So now, once I have my blogs created, like don't turn the blogs on yet until you have some blogs on your website. So now I'll go back over to online store, and then we are going to go over to copy of ride, and we're going to customize it. Now we've got our dude, got our collection, we got other stuff down here, talk about our brand. So again, if I wanted to change the color scheme, I click on it, and I'll go color scheme here, and then 6, and then talk about your brand. Come down further, doon. And then here again, I'll click on this section here. I'm just clicking off into the space, or I can go over on the left-hand side and actually click directly on the blog posts. And now I'll change the schema to my number 6 again. So if I look at this, and then we will come through and say, okay, why aren't my blogs showing up? Well, you have to select the blog over here, right? So you select blog posts, you click on select, and then you're going to select news. So now that I select news, there's my blogs. Okay, so I could say whatever my posts are, I could say how many columns, I can do view all, I could turn off the view all. Featured image, I could turn that off. If I just want to show the actual text itself, the date, I could turn that off. If I want to show the author, I can do that. It's always good to show the date if you're being active on there and stuff also, because the search engines will come and keep checking your website if your dates change, right? So I'll go ahead and select save. So the next thing I'm going to do, let me just go back over to themes here and then colors. Yeah, I just wanted to check something. So I had someone recently ask me, how do I change? Like right now, these are black right here, back here. So you're going to do that. You're going to go into themes, right? And you go over to, so here's sections, which is how you edit the page. But these blocks, right, they're black behind there. So I need to go to theme settings, and then I'll scroll down, and you've got something called, let's see, product cards. So the product cards, and you look at this, it's got schema 2. So I can change that to 1. Watch what happens. Nothing. So let's go down to 4 and see what changes. There you go. So there's that funky color, right? So I don't want that color. I want it to be white. There we go. So now it's white. So you have to create that schema. I don't think there's anyone available in here right now. Let me see. 2. So 2 won't do it. 3. So you could select 3 and it'll change those to white. Okay, so this one is for Miyoko, who contacted me to ask me how to change the colors on the featured product collections, and that's how you do it. Okay, that'll also change it throughout your website. So when you're on your collection pages, I'm gonna hit save. So now if I go to a collection, let me just go to another collection, and now you'll see they're all white. See underneath. So notice now I still have this ugly black here, right, in my collection pages. So you're going to want to go through each of these and change the scheme, for you for each page that way. It's just easier to control it that way. Go that way and then go to products, do the default product, and then it's black. So you want to click on the actual product information, change the scheme to 6. So now I've got this cool thing going here, right? And I could leave this black if I want to, or I could change that as well. So now I've got my product page, I've done my collection page, and I also want this stuff down here to be, black and white. So I can click there, scheme of 4. I'll go ahead and change that to 3. Subscribe to our emails. I'll hit save. Let me go back. Let me go to another. Let's go to a page. You want to check the pages out too. Yeah, see the pages are black. Let's look at the other ones. Blog posts. Yeah, so everything's black in this theme. So you can click here, and then you can change the schema in this guy too. So let me see, blog posts. Okay. So save, go back over here to collections, just to check something. Okay. So we'll go back to the home page up here at the top. So now I've got the dude, got this bar. I may not want the 1 and 2 showing as well, so I can always click on the slideshow. And then you have other ways to edit these. This one has limited ability though for the slides. Let me see if it's allows me to so animation, ambient movement's pretty cool. So if they're on an actual image and it moves around a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, you'd have to hide that stuff with like CSS. If I go ahead and remove this, I think it's going to delete the whole slide. So I'm not going to do that. All right, so now I've got that going there, got that there. Talk about your brand. So notice how the button's pretty messed up right there. So this one, on this example, I need to do 3, and then it fixes the button label. I don't have anything actually on the button right now, but you talk about your brand, have your information here, okay? Men's suits, so let's take a look at the collection. So these are collection cards, okay? So you have product cards and collection cards. So if you wanted this white down here as well, I'll go ahead and select save. And we go way over the left-hand side up here on the left with these icons up here, right? So I hit theme settings, and then you see product cards, and then you're gonna see collection cards. So I'll go collection cards, and I'm gonna change that to 3. Let's see what it does. And there you go. So it changes it to that white. And I'll select save. Again, you could mess around with all the different settings on here. And it's the same thing with the blog cards. So if I scroll down, you'll see the blog here, right? Now, the blog cards, I can change those as well. So if I go to like that color, it's going to give me the black, right? So I'll go back to 6, just where I was. Content containers. So you can play around with all this and see how it actually affects what's happening on your site. Social media, this is actually where you add your own social media accounts. And so I'm going to show you how this works. I'll go through all these theme settings right now. So right now you got logo. So you're going to want to upload your logo. So if you have a logo, we're just going to put Miracle Botanicals on here. How's that? There we go. So the Miracle Botanicals is gonna take place of the logo up here. See how it actually made it really small? So I want it bigger, so I can make it bigger. There you go. And then the favicon, 32 by 32. So you're gonna want to make something that's like this square right here, you know, and then put something up there that is 32 by 32 pics. I don't have an image right now. If I use the actual image again, this will be the thing that's going to show up here, right? So you want to make sure it's 32 pixels by 32 pixels. I'd probably take this thing right here into Photoshop or Canva and then make that 32 by 32. Colors, color schemes to be applied. So I have all of my schema. All right, we already messed around with that. Typography, you can change the actual font styles. So if you look at the Oswald medium, I'll just go ahead and change it to sans serif and then watch what changes on the page. The welcome to our store and other stuff is changed on the site. And once I'm done, I select the bottom. I'm down here on the fonts. I'll go ahead and click the arrow to collapse it again. And you got layout. Page width. So some people like full page width. You know, you can put 2400 in here if you want. You can put in whatever, 1600 from default. If you wanted a more narrow page, you can put 1200. You hit your tab key and it'll go thinner. So 1600 is pretty good. They actually use good spacing there. Animations, hover effect. So you could do vertical lift or 3D lift. And what that means is that if I hover over something, let me just hover over. Let's see if there's something hoverable. There you go. So there, see how it's lifting? And if I change that to 3D lift, kind of skews it a little. That's weird. All right, let's hit none. Buttons, you've got different sizes and stuff, so you could change the thickness of your buttons. You know, so if my buttons, I wanted it to be, 4 pixels, to go around. I don't really have a lot of buttons on here, so you can't really see. Animations, buttons, variant pills. So these right here are the variants. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this. Now, if I go onto a product, let me just go on to this guy. And now it looks weird. It's a blog post. So let's go to a products. We'll get onto a product. So I don't have any drop downs on any of these products. Let me see if I have one. There we go. So these are pills right here. They're called variant pills, right? So I've got variant picker. So I'm on the page right now. So I got variant picker. So if I go over here and then on the far right hand side, I've got pills. I don't like those pills. I want to drop down. I can just select drop down, and now I've got this cool drop down. Okay. So the default is pills, and then otherwise is drop down. If you leave pills, and then you also will have swatches, circle, square, none. So you can actually have swatches for colors in here, but then you have to upload actually colors for the swatches. It's a little weird the way they do it. I'm going to hit save and leave that the way that is. I'm going to go back into themes over here, and then we'll get into the inputs, which is your fields for your contact forms. We already went over the cards. Content media. So media, you've got shadow, thickness, so border thickness. So if I, put some border around my media and all that stuff, you'll see that. You have to go through there and see where that affects stuff. Drop downs, pop-ups, borders. You can mess around with the look and feel. This is all how stuff's going to look, right? So brand information, you're gonna want to put information in here. Headline, my cool brand. Some people turn the brand on stuff for the footer down here. I'll show you how that works. So if I put in James Fitness and then description, cool fitness company. Okay, so it's not showing anywhere yet, right? So I'll hit save. I'll go back to the home page. Now, if I scroll all the way to the bottom, you've got this footer section. So now I'll go ahead and click on the footer, and it's going to take me here. If I put add block, you'll see brand information. So the information that I just added, James Fitness, Cool Fitness Company, will show up there. I'm going to add another block by rolling my mouse over this section here. I'm going to choose an image because I want to put my logo there. So I'll choose image. Then over here on the right-hand side, I'll hit select, and then I'm going to choose my logo again. I'll say Men's Health is my logo. Whatever. It's Miracle Botanicals, but I'll just leave that there. And then again, I can make it as large or as small. I can make it left, right, etc. So now notice how it made two columns for me exactly. So now what I want to do is I want to add another, I'll roll my mouse to the center here, and then I'm going to add some text. And then I also want to add a menu. So I'm going to go ahead and roll my mouse again and hit menu. You can actually add more than one menu if you have multiple menus in here. But notice how they're out of order. I want to put the logo over here. I want to put the menu over here. So I just roll over this. I'll say, okay, image I want all the way over on the left. So I just move that all the way to the top. So now I got that there, and I've got my menu. And then I've got my heading text, and I've got my James Fitness. So text and heading, I'm in control here, so I could say cool heading. And then info here, whatever. In business since 1992. Okay, whatever. So I'll hit save. So now where's my social media stuff and everything else? So I'll just go back over to theme settings, and I'm going to go ahead and go underneath brand information. And now you're going to see search, and you see social media. So if I don't have my accounts yet, I can just put a pound sign here, and then it's going to at least give me the icons. So you see how it's going to start showing the icons? So I say I am going to put YouTube, I am going to put TikTok and Twitter, Snapchat and Pinterest and Vimeo. I don't care about that. So I'm going to put all these in here, but when I'm ready, I'll put my Facebook URL, I'll put my Instagram URL, I'll put my YouTube URL. And don't forget to put these back in here, otherwise they're not going to go anywhere. Okay. So that's that. So again, the subscribe to emails will not do anything except put a notification on the customer in the back end of Shopify that says you are allowed to email them. That's all it does. Search behavior, you've got search suggestions, product vendor, product price. So you can show other things on this particular one. Let's look at cart. You've got pop-up notification, you've got page or drawer. So these are real simple. So if you have drawer, I'll just show you how that works. So if I click on that, it pops out like that. I like that actually. And then let me change it again. So let me go back to theme settings. And then I'm going to change it to page. Okay, and now let's see, page. And if I click on it, it's going to take me to the cart page. Okay, let me go back to theme settings again over here top left, and I'll go back down the cart. I'm going to change it to a pop-up notification. And so if I do that, now I select the cart up here in the top right. I don't have anything in my cart. So let me add something into my cart. So I added something to my cart and it gives me this little pop-up. So I can now view the cart. So I like this one or I like the fly out. Either way, you can choose whatever you want. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to theme settings. And then I'm going to do drawer. I like drawer. So, and then cart note, if you want to show notes on the cart itself, you should do that so that people can put notes in. And then again, if you wanted to have the schema for that particular pop out, you would change it there and hit save. So now if I go ahead and click on my cart, it's going to do a pop out and it's black and white, just like but notice how the button is down here on the right hand side. You can't see it. So I need to change that to the other schema because the one that I made is the best one. So hit themes, I'll go down to cart and I'm going to change this to 3. And watch, it'll change this little guy down here. Let's go back to there we go. Now we can see checkout. All right, and then there's special order instructions. This is where the cart notes go, and then hit save. So I think I covered everything. Let's see, theme settings. Custom CSS, this is if you're going to put some styling in here, like say you wanted this color to be different. Let me see, so title. Yeah, there's no customizations available for any of this stuff, right? Product information. I mean, you can pick the overall schema, but you can't, so zoom, open light box, click and hover, no zoom. There's some cool stuff that's on the actual product, which is cool. So you can click on the actual product information, they go down. Say you don't want to have something on here. Let me choose number 3 because that seems to be the one that works. There we go, there's buy now. So say I don't want to show the related products down here. I can click on it. Now, if I just hide it, that's fine. I can do it that way. And then that way it won't show when people get on there. So the same thing with share. I don't want to share it with anybody. I can get rid of it or I can hide it. You can just delete it because you can always add them back later. It's better to have less code on the page anyway. Quantity selector, variant picker, price, product rating. If you don't have ratings, you can get rid of that. It's useless, right? But if you don't want to mess with that, you can just leave it all by default. I'll hit save. So let's see. What else would I want to know? That's about it. Other than setting up Shopify, like, with the payments and with, adding a product and how to configure, add images and add pricing and inventory. I have other videos for that. If you found this useful, please like or share. I have basically no followers. I have some. But if you want to go ahead, every once in a while, when I get a little extra time, I like to create these videos to help people out. Let's see if there's anything else. Let's go back to sections and then app embeds. So app embeds, if you were to add an app in here, you usually have to enable them. So if you had an app in the back end of your store, it's not gonna work. Sometimes the paid apps won't work on the draft version of what you're working on. So I'm gonna hit save on here. And then I'll just go back over here, top left-hand side, exit back to my themes. And then I can look at this by selecting these little dots right here and hit preview. And then I can actually look at the site and see what I did, all my fun stuff, all my great, beautiful work here. So going through collections. It's really a really horrible website, but at least the functionality is there. You make it look however you want, put your imagery on there. This is just so you understand how to use it, right? Good to go, good to go, good to go. Fitness brands, there's my work, there's my info. Okay, blog, subscribe, links, social, all that fun stuff. Okay, thank you.